Session 385, deleted, December 6th, 1967. Rob noted, "Tonight Jane and I had another rather long discussion before the session, as before the last session, and once again, our talk proved to be very beneficial. Once again, Jane gained insights into the problems behind her symptoms, and we planned a course of action as a result. The course merely concerns a way to think about her psychic abilities, with some suggestions given to this end in a specific way." As we talked, Jane herself made the intuitive connection that her intellectual skepticism about her psychic gifts is really a fear, an emotional masquerade that prevents her from being really objective in considering her abilities. Jane made valuable connections here about the honesty necessary in evaluating her psychic gifts, linking this same honesty with that she uses while writing poetry. Both of us felt we were on strong solid ground here, and that our insights this evening probably concerned the last problems to be dealt with in the banishment of symptoms. Jane began speaking in trance while sitting on the divan, using a quiet voice, a direct manner, with her eyes open often. Seth said, "Good evening. Your precision discussions are valuable. Rupert's intuitions are strong then. You have come a long way in understanding this problem this evening. Now, give us a moment." He is strongly accusing toward anything he regards as religious deceit. Because of his experience, you see, with several priests in the past, there is some connection here. He is deeply committed to his idea of truth and goodness. When he could no longer believe in the tenets of the Catholic Church wholeheartedly, pervertly, and completely, he devoted himself from it as thoroughly as he had once embraced its tenets. He would make no compromises. He still finds it most difficult to understand those like the Galahans, who remain in the Church while not rigorously believe in each dictum. His royalty, once given, is under most circumstances irreversible, unless deceit is involved. At the time, he believed deceit was involved in the church hierarchy. His potential for commitment is truly powerful. He is committed to you, for example, in this way. He is being overly cautious, realizing the strength of his commitments. He makes few of them. It has been all or nothing until this point. Here, he has tried to hold back, and yet not hold back. One very large portion of the personality is totally committed to our endeavors. Another portion has so far withheld complete commitment, though the rejection seems greater by contrast. In others, the rejection would come close to commitment, but for him, this is not enough. A definite strain therefore developed, particularly painful since it involved his work also, to which he has always been strongly committed. He recognized the value of our endeavors to his work. On the other hand, he still was not completely committed, and therefore mistrust. He did not want to use his work to place his work at the surface of a cause to which he was not indelibly committed. He has always been concerned with teaching, as I have been. The conscientious portions of the personality are of great benefit in that area. He must believe completely in what he is doing, in what he is teaching, or he feels himself deceitful. His energy was very purposefully restrained and held back last winter. He denied himself its use to anything like full capacity, for reasons given earlier, and also because he refused to use it rather than misuse it. He had to be more certain of our cause before he would allow himself to direct energy into it. He could not do this in one area and not in others. Therefore, the energy was held largely in abeyance. The inner self grappled. Large portions of the self were won over, and the symptoms began to lessen, and the energy to return. The classes were of great benefit, and are. You may take a brief break, and I shall continue. His mother, incidentally, was deeply terrified of faith healers. Now, I could not give you this material earlier, for he would not allow it. It would make no impression upon him had I given it, nor would my appearance have convinced him of anything more than what he would consider his own duplicity. The station itself, therefore, is an indication of his progress. Your own attitude now is most beneficial, and you are doing him a service that no one else can do, partially, of course, to make up for harm that you did unwittingly. He let you do the harm, but he would have let no one else do it at the time. The survival personality in itself does not automatically make one wise. Survival personalities are individuals. The God concept is a valid one. This for Ruber. It will be explained by others according to the limits of their own understanding. Now, Lacan, the author of self-hypnotism, was a help at a time when he needed to re-examine his past. Now, however, Mast, the author of psychocybernetics, is called for, and his idea of reacting only within the bright focus of the present. This alone, when Ruber realizes its implications, will be of great help. The muscles in the arms work against themselves. Again, massage on your part will benefit, because of the idea behind it. There is little need to go into various symptoms, however, for as he begins to feel at one with himself again, they recede and will vanish. Even if he takes a conscious neutral stand, this will be of great benefit, for as he overreacts to his own doubts. They are not as severe as they appear to him. Even a neutrality here will be a step forward on the part of consciousness, you see. In any case, he must realize that no fraud is involved. He is not lying, as the child is accused of doing when he describes something his parents consider outlandish. He is involved in a search for truth, and he must be prepared to follow wherever the search leads him. The intellect cannot, because of its very nature, participate fully in the actual trance experience. He must realize this. Let him remind himself that he is fearless in his poetry, and commits himself to it fully. And his ability here has always led him onward to further unfoldments, and never into betrayal or deceit. It
It is precisely this same kind of ability he is using now. He must trust it. The intellect follows when and to what extent it can in the poetic experience, but does not directly participate in the initial moment of revelation or intuitional insight. It follows on from there, translating the experience in terms of physical reality. Let it serve the same purpose here. Rupert does not mistrust himself because he plunges headlong, literally into the poetic experience. He does not feel guilty because he does not intellectually question the moment of poetic revelation. He should therefore allow himself to plunge headlong with the same commitment into this experience. The strength of the intuitional insight itself convinces the intellect of its validity after the poetic experience, because Rupert allows himself full freedom to encounter the revelation. In our work, if he allows himself this same freedom, the intellect will also be convinced of our validity. The very freedom will give me more leeway in making my presence known to him. I am so a part of him during sessions, you see, that he cannot observe me or my presence, and this is a source of irritation to him. I am now, you see, so a part of his system at this moment that no part of his consciousness can sit aside and isolate me. He would like to isolate me and observe me. When he allows himself more freedom, he will be able to sense me in definite terms, though as a rule not during a session. He senses my presence then, but not in terms outside of himself. You see, you can do this during sessions. You may take your break, or if you prefer, you may end the session. We will close the session. It is, however, a fact that I am so a part of him during sessions that makes him doubt my independent existence. He feels the closeness, you see, yet I cannot completely be myself while within his system, since I am using his nervous system. It is the mixture of strangeness and familiarity that confuses him in this regard. It is not possible for me to speak through him now, without using his physical structure. He is so used to its feeling. He recognizes the existence of a different psychological personality and pattern, however. If your situations were reversed, he would have had instant belief in my independent nature. Now, unless you have questions, we will end what I hope will be a most helpful session. Rob said, no questions. Seth said, my heartiest regards to you both, and Rupert should definitely continue with the math exercises. The be careful in nothing advice is just what Rupert needs now. And tell him to smile as he goes to sleep. And if he wakens, to relax the facial muscles and smile. Also on awakening, the jaw should particularly be relaxed. There is a tendency to grit the teeth.